Hey guys, this is Connor from Futures Analytica. Today we're going to be trading and teaching an easy to understand order flow strategy on the 10-year Treasury bond futures contract. So, right at market open, like always, we're going to be clicking the Arm Both button on the right-hand panel of our trading interface here, which turns on the strategy in both the long and short directions, meaning our strategy is now scanning for abnormal order flow data in either direction for its condition for entry. A few seconds after market open, our system has detected a sell-side order flow imbalance and has entered us into a short trade. Since we're on ZN, which has such a high volume but such low price action, our settings for trading ZN have us only looking for one imbalance rather than our normal method of looking for a stacked sequential order flow imbalance, like when we trade ES. We're trading the 10-year Treasury bond today because of how specifically easy order flow is to read on it compared to other instruments. It's low spread and it's low commissions and fees. If you're new to this challenge, this is our $500 to $10,000 challenge, where we started with a $500 account and are making our way up to $10,000. And at the end of the series, I'll be donating $10,000 to World Vision, which is a Christian humanitarian organization which is helping communities overcome poverty and injustice. If you're interested in watching the rest of the series, I have a link in the description with the rest of the episodes. But to delve deeper into our setup on this instrument, we have a 6-tick take profit and a 4-tick stop loss. So our reward to risk ratio is quite favorable at 1.5, meaning if we only need a 40% success rate today to turn a profit, which gives us a lot to work with, as since we're trading based off of order flow, we can get a much better read on the market. And right there, we got filled on the first winning trade of the day, leaving us with a cool $181 gain after commissions on our $2,000 account size that we've earned since we started with $500. By the way, if this is your first time joining us, the automated trading interface we're using to trade is the PolarityATI, which is linked in the description. We also have a playlist of me using this in my live trading, as well as a link to a webinar I did for NinjaTrader, where I highlight the system, which is linked in the description as well. Right there, we spotted a delta price divergence. This is when the correlation between delta and price has been broken. I love ZN for beginners because of how compact everything is. It's all very digestible due to its large tick size and slow movement, meaning divergences, which can sometimes be subtle, are a lot easier to see. On this divergence, we saw price move upward, with delta having a massive downward pull, meaning sellers are giving everything they have, yet are unable to move price downward. This is going to lead us to arm the PolarityATI in the long direction only. So now the PolarityATI is looking for a buyer imbalance for its condition for entry. There are multiple ways you can choose to trade this software, and you can pick from a wide range of involvement in your trading decisions by using the Auto Arm feature, which I'll be highlighting shortly. And there is that buy-side imbalance that the strategy has been waiting for, leading us to be filled into a long position on 2 contracts of ZN. If trading order flow is new to you, or you just need a refresher on order flow, I've made some great free tutorial videos explaining everything one by one, which I've also linked in the description. Just for transparency's sake, this video was recorded live with the commentary done in post, with the video sped up at areas where there is no trading decisions being made. Because we're trying to catch a pullback or a new trend forming, we're looking for some secondary confirmation before immediately rearming that trade. So we're going to be turning Auto Arm on, which will arm the strategy automatically the best it can. Pretty briefly after that, we get our second fill of the day, bringing our daily P&L up to $362. I would like to point out that although price moved very strongly upward and filled us without much issue, delta moved from over 3,000 to less than 1,800 bar over bar, which does not exactly instill confidence in me to immediately rearm in the long direction, which is exactly why we're going to be turning Auto Arm on. After giving the market some time to give us more information, we saw that even on that pullback bar, delta remained positive through the whole thing, as well as a quick rebound after the price decrease. So we are going to rearm the strategy in the long direction. This is not a required step, and you did not have to manually intervene here, but we wanted to scrape out an extra trade opportunity and not have to wait for Auto Arm to trigger. And it's a good thing we did, because we got an imbalance there on the buy side, leading us to enter that trade with that 6-tick take profit and 4-tick stop loss. And like the last trade, we are going to be flicking back on that Auto Arm button, so we can rest easy on being required to arm and disarm the strategy now, as it'll be done automatically. Right after that trade is exited for a profit, we get pushed into a second trade, Unfortunately, since that trade was based off of that 26.89 imbalance, we got a very poor fill, which leads us to being stopped out on that trade. However, since we have that nice 1.5 to 1 RR, we lost a lot less than we gained, meaning out of that whole exchange of those two trades, we still came out on top, which brings our total P&L to $413. But there's a lot of potential in this move, as Delta has stayed positive throughout the whole ordeal, so we're going to leave auto arm enabled. Also, if you guys like what you're seeing, but need some more training or instruction on how to trade the PolarityATI, we actually have an included ebook which teaches everything you need to know from A to Z on how to set up and trade the PolarityATI in an effective way. We've worked very hard on making sure we provide everything necessary to trade this strategy, assuming this is your first time trading futures. However, before any decisions are made on getting this, I definitely recommend watching both our free live trading videos as well as some tutorial videos on this channel to make sure that this is the right style of trading for you, as it is definitely not for everyone. And now AutoArm has triggered us into that long trade. We're going to be wanting to watch Delta at this point, as this is a very, very long move already. So if at any point we see any divergences or a stark decrease in Delta, we're going to want to potentially move our stop loss to take a risk off of the table, or possibly close the position entirely. We're seeing a lot of seller activity at this point, with a negative 505 delta with a very long candle wick in the short direction. So although we're not intervening with this current trade, we are definitely going to be looking for stronger confirmation on the next trade. So there is that fill that we've been looking for, pushing us all the way to almost $600 of profit in the first 30 minutes of trading, which is definitely not shabby for a $2,000 account. With that negative 9 delta and price sticking exactly where it opened on the last bar, that's definitely enough to wait for some more confirmation on another long trade, as this move has already extended itself for quite some time, and I would not be surprised if we saw buyer aggression being exhausted with such a large and continuous move in that direction. Also guys, you don't need to buy the PolarityATI to trade this strategy. You're more than welcome to trade it with just any old footprint chart. But the automation makes entering without having to have your hand always on the trigger waiting for an imbalance so much easier. But either way, I have the cheapest footprint chart in the market, and it's one of the only ones that does not require access to Order Flow Plus, which is over $1,000. But if you already have Order Flow Plus or any other footprint chart, the PolarityATI is cross-compatible with any of them as long as they display imbalances. Now, price is sticking again right where it entered, with delta being suppressed down to negative 371. If we get some more movement in that direction with even more decrease in delta, we're definitely going to be looking for a short trade by arming in the short direction. If you guys want to know how these recaps are made, I try to always have a voice memo going as I'm trading and roughly outline what my thoughts are. Obviously, these are pretty raw and definitely not presentable enough to include, but it would definitely be pretty difficult to remember what I was actually thinking when making these trading decisions without recording it in some fashion. I did some live commentary videos in the earlier days of this channel, which proved to work alright, but I wasn't doing a very good job explaining how to actually trade without going on a tangent or sometimes missing trades. Following our rules to the letter, with price moving downward on that bar close and delta being at a massive negative 1,000, we arm it in the short direction. And on this new bar, delta has been pushed down to almost negative 1,000 in just 2 ticks of price movement. And shortly after, an imbalance provides the confirmation necessary for the system to enter in the short direction. On that entry bar close, 3 out of the 5 ticks on that bar had a huge sell imbalance, compounded with delta being a gigantic negative 4,200. If this isn't a clear decision on queuing up another short trade by clicking arm short, I don't know what is. With that short trade being filled, which brought our daily P&L up to 776, it only takes a couple of moments for another short imbalance to form, pushing us into one more short trade. Alright, well, our second short trade is moving along very nicely, with price being depressed pretty consistently. But although delta might seem great still, it is important to remember that delta's magnitude cannot be assigned value while alone. You need to contextualize the size of the delta with the delta surrounding it. To further explain, our reference point is the biggest delta in this move, which is negative 4,000 and change. But as this move has progressed, we've seen delta's absolute value approach closer and closer to 0. Now would have been a great time to turn on auto arm, but I'm a bit of a control freak and want to get every single penny I can when trading, so I'm looking for that quick manual arm. So about 20 minutes have passed now, and since the frequency of new bars being formed when on a range chart like this one is determined by price movement, we've gotten almost no new bars, which would lead me to make the conclusion that we are now in a range, as well as the fact that that red support line being formed at the bottom there and the green resistance line being moved to a similar position. My greed subsides and I finally give in and just flick on auto arm like I should have in the beginning. Almost an hour has passed since we turned on auto arm, and with price ping-ponging off of the support and resistance lines like clockwork and no trades being taken, we got pretty bored. But finally, price exits the range in the downward direction, which leads the strategy to be armed, and when that sell side imbalance forms, we get entered into a short trade. Also, I would like to point out this bar that preluded the breakout by 1 bar. The delta was absolutely massive, almost 200% larger than almost all of the bars in that range. Even though the amount of price movement in both this bar and all of the bars in the range were exactly the same. Now, if any of you have adept pattern recognition, you might see why you could use this to your advantage in the future. And with delta and price continuously decreasing, we're pretty locked in on this trade, which does end up getting filled, moving our total profit to right over $1,000 for the day. So we're calling it right there, as not only does price action start moving snail speed at this time of day, especially on treasuries, we're a bit over leveraged on this account size, and we don't want to give back any of our gains. We haven't had any events during the challenge, which made me regret using this much leverage on our challenge account, but I don't recommend you guys use the same position size as me. Anyway, I apologize for my slight leave of absence. I caught a pretty nasty illness when I was over in Washington, and it was really painful to even speak. Fortunately, I'm good now for the most part, but as a thank you to you guys for your patience in this journey, I have extended the Labor Day weekend sale to end on Friday the 9th of September instead of on Monday night. You can use the code LD2022 to get 15% off of the PolarityATI or the PolarityATI bundle. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I have a really great update for the PolarityATI currently being tested, which I cannot wait to push to all current Polarity owners for free, as updates to our software are always included free of charge. If you enjoyed the video, please drop a like and a subscribe if you haven't already. It pleases the algorithm and really helps me out. And if you didn't like the video, leave a dislike and maybe comment why so I can do a better job next time. I appreciate you all so very much, and I will see you again very soon.